Bienvenidos to the most populous city in North America. The legendary Jim Clark won the first official F1 race back in 1963 here, and we've had a veritable who's who of winners ever since. It's Mexico City, and therefore, the Mexico City Grand Prix. We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6-mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll and Russell, Mayer, Verstappen, Ocon and Aiden Jackson, Tsunoda, Antonelli, Nico Hülkenberg, Doohan, Bortoleto, Behrman, Pierre Gasly and Oscar Piastri, Hadjar, Sainz, Lawson and Lewis Hamilton rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. So here we are, 2.2 kilometres up in the air, which I know is an unusual feeling for you, Mr. Davidson, but for the drivers, it's even worse.
It is. The altitude can certainly get to your head, Crofty, that's for sure. Especially when you're walking up the stairs to the commentary box. I've seen it firsthand, ladies and gentlemen, don't you worry. But this circuit, the problem with the altitude is it takes away your downforce. You have to go slower around the corners because you've got less downforce, even though you've got Monaco wing packages on your car. That's the challenge of this incredibly unique circuit.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
All right, guys, here we are at the end of the formation lap here in Mexico. Very good start for both of our drivers, but unfortunately, if you guys could tell by the length of this race, it's just tragedy has struck, like the title. We basically recorded this race, and I went to I tried to finish the race. I was maybe 3 laps away, as you guys could see, lap 34 or 36 now, after the transition. I basically had stuff I had to do, so I had to do a mid-session save, and I ended up having to come back and finish the race later, which I completely didn't even realize that the race replay only saves when you relog back in. So from that save point there at the end of the race to the end of the race is literally the only content we have. So we're on board with Mayer chasing down Verstappen and leading against Hamilton here in Mexico, as we're going to be coming up to lap 35. As you guys can see, Albon and Norris, the DNF. Norris had a red flag, or not a red flag, a DNF earlier in the race, and that's where in the thumbnail you guys saw the illegal overtake on Fernando Alonso, and then Albon had a retirement later on. A lot of overtakes down this main straight, but Mayer is still in the top 10, as well as Jackson, which is good for us, for the team, as we're nearing the end of the season. And I just wanted to remind you guys that I am truly sorry that we don't have a full-length episode for Mexico. It is the fall, as I believe I mentioned it in the last episode. I'm not quite sure, but we're going to be shifting our focus to one series, and it's most likely going to be this MyTeam career, so we'll have to wait and see as we're getting closer to the end of the season, as we see Hamilton starting to pull away here through the S's in Mexico. The worst part of the race for us there in that sector too. That's going to be a double points finish for Konnersport here in Mexico, as still everybody did a one-stop race as we're coming around the final corner. And even though it was a short episode, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what we had at the end of the race. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
Well, it all came good in the end for them, but it wasn't an easy start. Not the most straightforward of days, but I think it shows great strength in an athlete as a driver when you can overcome a day like this and walk away still with a victory.
From lights out to the checkered flag, each and every driver has this moment in the back of their mind. Now it's time for their celebrations. Our podium, it awaits. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc, Charles Leclerc on top. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
All right, there we have it. The end of a pretty intense race. We're doing better, and then later on throughout the race, we started losing tire life, so we couldn't really hold on. Calimere up to P4 and drop back down to P6. Only gaining one position off of the race start. Aiden Jackson finishing one position ahead of the race start. So we finished, both of our drivers finished. Well, one of our drivers finished ahead of one of the drivers for Mercedes. So that helps with the standings against Mercedes. As Aiden Jackson closes his gap on George Russell, Calimere increases her gap on Kimi Antonelli, trying to close the gap on Jackson. So that internal battle going on between them with a handful of races to go. And I don't know what it is with Ferrari, but they've won majority of the last few races, and they're looking to win the constructors ahead of McLaren. That it hasn't been claimed yet. They're still ahead by 94 points, 570 to 476, as we're in the late game now. So our contracts have been signed. I'm dealing with the schedule, with the availability that we have with editing schedules. It's going to be dropping down to a 16 race schedule in the next season. I still haven't decided on how many sprint races to do throughout the season. We'll have to wait and see. It is a double points finish for our team yet again, and we'll see you guys in the next one.